Hey guys, GlockFan2 here again. So today I thought I'd do a video on first aid kits. I'm kind of a first aid kit nut. I like to have them with me all the time in different configurations, so I just thought I'd show you kind of what we use at my house. First thing about first aid kits is they're expensive to put together on your own. This stuff is not cheap. Some of these things are just ridiculous. So what we do is just we buy like a box of Band-Aids here and some other just individual things at a time. If you go out and you try and build a first aid kit right from scratch and you go out and buy all your own stuff, it can get really expensive. And the store-bought options of the pre-made first aid kits just really don't have that much capability. You really can't do a whole lot with them. I mean, a lot of the ones that we have are full of medications that you don't really need, and they don't really have very much in them to actually give you any help. When I think of a first aid kit, I think of something that can stop bleeding or help you until medical professionals arrive. This isn't something that you're going to take out into the field and cure anybody. It's just going to be a help until you can get to a hospital or until an ambulance can get to you. So what I have here is the basic versions of the first aid kits we use at my house. This is the one that the kids keep in their backpack, one of these. And then this is a version that my wife and I keep with us. I keep in my backpack, she keeps in her purse. So, first thing I'll show you is the kids. It's pretty basic. They're just kids. You can't expect them to do a whole lot with first aid, but we got some Band-Aids and stuff like that in here. I really like this Neosporin spray. It's great for scrapes and things like that. The only downside to it is once you put this on, it's really hard to get a Band-Aid to stick to anything. So it's got a little pain reliever in there, so if kids fall down on the playground, scrape up their hands, knees, elbows, you can just spritz it on there and it helps. It gives you a little bit of protection. The other things we have in there are a few Band-Aids. I just keep a couple different sizes. You can see here I got like 6 Band-Aids, 2 each of 3 different sizes. You never know what kind of cut they're going to get. And then I have this little packet of Neosporin, or I guess this one's called triple antibiotic ointment, but just this little packet of antibiotic ointment that I picked up, I think, at my local pharmacy, the place we get our prescriptions filled. Just went to their little first aid section, and I think it's the brand that they use at their hospital, and they just sell them through the pharmacy too. This was like 50 cents, I think, per little thing, and I picked up a handful one day. They work great in first aid kits. The second one that my wife and I carry with us is a little bit more extensive. There's a few more things in it that adults would be able to use, and I like to stretch the capability of them a little bit, so to speak. So this is a little bit basic, and it's got a couple things in there that could maybe go beyond basic first aid, but it's not going to get you too far. First thing I keep in all of them is a pair of just gloves. Some latex, or maybe these are non-latex, I can't remember, but just some exam gloves, again, that I picked up at one of the pharmacies like Walgreens or CVS. They sell them by the box of 100. They're like $3 or $4 for a box. I just don't want to touch somebody else's body fluids without being protected, that's all. What else we got in here? I have a little medication pouch. This has some Advil and some baby aspirin in it. If you've seen my SAS survival tin video, I go over the aspirin. I like to keep some aspirin on hand just because I have some people in my family that have some heart conditions, and if they ever heard of have chest pain or anything, one of the things you can do while you're waiting for paramedics or medical help to arrive is to give them a couple either baby aspirin. These ones in here happen to be the 81 milligram baby aspirin, so 2 of those, or half of a full strength aspirin. But I'm not a first aid expert, and you have to know a little bit about the person's medical background before you can just give them aspirin like that, if they have ulcers and things like that. So it shouldn't be something that you just kind of go around giving everybody aspirin. You should be able to find out some information about them before you give them aspirin, so don't just take my advice on it. The next thing we have in here is just a few alcohol prep pads. These just for cleaning a wound up. They're alcohol, so there's nobody that's really allergic to alcohol. Again, I got these I think in the diabetic supply section of one of my pharmacies. They just have these little prep pads. I got a whole box of them. It's got a couple hundred in it, and it was fairly inexpensive. I can't remember exactly, but I got some more antibiotic. Another little package of antibiotic ointment. A variety of Band-Aids. I got some Band-Aid brand and some Coverlet brand. You know, whatever happened to be on sale the day I was looking for Band-Aids. Another Band-Aid, some more antibiotic. That kind of covers the basics, you know, cuts and scrapes and stuff like that. Next, to kind of stretch the capability of my little pocket first aid kit here, I have these a little bit bigger. I call them butterfly dressings, but that's not really what they are. They're kind of a, I don't know if you can tell on camera, maybe not. They're kind of a butterfly shaped, a little bit bigger for rounded areas, maybe elbows or knees, and they kind of cover larger cuts in kind of weird areas and stuff. That's not just straightforward. And then to really push the capacity, and I got this idea from watching some Nut and Fancy videos, so if he's got some pretty awesome first aid kit videos on his website, YouTube page. I have these Steri strips. Now these things are, I have a 1/2 inch, these are 1/2 inch wide and these are 1/4 inch wide, and they're both about 3 inches long, and they're just these kind of fabric-y strips, and they can cover a large area. So if you can see some videos and stuff on how to use them, but, it's a little bit bigger than a Band-Aid is going to handle. And then I found this stuff called Mastisol, and where I found it was a friend has a colostomy bag, so he uses it to keep his medical. He uses it instead of the tape. It helps things stick better. So you crack this little vial, and it's got a little cotton end down here, and you just kind of dump it on, and then you rub it around the skin, and you let it dry for a minute or two, and then it gets really tacky and sticky, and then it helps these Steri strips stick really well. So if you put it over like a hairy area on your arm or something, these aren't sticking, you can put that stuff down and it'll help it really stick and stay there. And the last thing that I keep in mind, and my wife has one too, but these things are pretty cool. This stuff's called Dermabond. But you know, this stuff is pretty awesome. It's kind of like a liquid Band-Aid. We just happened onto it because I had a surgery a while back, and they used it to put over the incision. And so I just asked for a couple extra before I went home, not really realizing what I was asking for. But I thought they were so cool, I started looking up online to see if I could find any. And you can buy it online, but Amazon's the least expensive place I found it. And these things are $25 for just 2 of them. Yeah, just 2 of these little vials are $25. So it's not one of those things that I'm going to keep in all of our first aid kits. I have one in mine, and my wife has one in hers. And if they ever were to get broken or cracked or used, they're probably not going to get replaced, because that is just a little expensive for what they are. There's only like 0.2 milliliters of actual liquid in these things. They work great. They're cool little things, and they, like I said, they're like a liquid Band-Aid. You just put them over the incision or the cut, and then you let it wait, and you sit there and wait till it's dry, and then it's just like this thick coating of liquid Band-Aid. It works great, but it's crazy expensive. So if you're truly committed, you can find it. But I'll tell you, this stuff is very expensive, kind of hard to find, and probably not going to be in the standard first aid kit. So that's my basic first aid kits. I hope they're helpful. Again, like I said, the first aid kits, if you build them yourself, they're pretty expensive, and you know, we just pieced these together, kind of a little bit here, a little bit there, and kept adding stuff, and so over time it's a little bit easier to build them that way. Thanks for watching.